Well, I got such an overwhelming response to the capacitor comparison video that I figured I had to bring some closure to it. Wow, you blew up the comments, didn't you? And that's what I live for. That is the reason I do these videos. I mean, that was a super treat for me. So thank you all for all the great comments. So what I'm going to do is we're going to try to listen to these two preamps and compare them. Now, stop before you get your fingers off the keyboard before I say something here. I understand all about YouTube algorithms. I understand about compression. I understand about your little cell phone speakers that you're going to hear things on or whatever. But here's what I'm going to do. Number one, the audio compression on YouTube actually is not bad. It's pretty good quality audio. Number two, both of these, whatever YouTube subjects that sound to, it's going to subject it the same way to both of them. So they're both getting equal treatment, okay? I think you'd be surprised how well the audio can pass through YouTube if it's properly formatted. So we're going to try this. And those of you who have a good set of headphones or possibly have a good set of audio gear that you're connecting your computer to or whatever on YouTube, you should be able to hear something. Now, those of you using the 1-inch speaker in your monitor, built into your monitor, or your little cell phone speaker, yeah, well, you're going to kind of be left out on this one maybe, unless you can get a good set of headphones or something. But for those of you who have the means to listen to it, we're going to try it out and see. This is an experiment, that's all. I'll be honest, listening to it here real time using a decent set of Klipsch speakers, I can't tell any difference. They sound the same to me. But maybe some of you have the golden ear and you can, you know. So let's give you the scenario of what I did. First of all, I'll show you some of this here. I did a little clip of kind of my setup. But essentially, I set the volume control and gain of the amplifier to be identical between both preamps. Basically, I set it to unity gain. I fed a 300 millivolt RMS 1 kilohertz tone into each preamp and adjusted the volume till I got as close to precisely 300 millivolts out at the outputs. And that is into a high impedance load. So yes, it could be a little bit lower if you loaded it at 600 ohms or something, but it's negligible. It's not going to be a big deal. I then set the output of my buffer preamp coming out of my sound card of my bench rig here, and I set the record level on my Zoom H4n to have exactly the same, record level. So it's theoretically the whole way through we should have a good recording. Now I used the 2 channel inputs for left and right, and I set the bit rate to 24 bits, and I set the frequency, the sample frequency, to 48 kilohertz. So I think we can all, or 96 kilohertz, I'm sorry. I did 96 kilohertz at 24 bit. Big time overkill, but I did it so that we can rule that part of it out. Now, full disclosure, 2 things I could not do, okay? I tried, but I failed. I tried forming the capacitors, the electrolytics, but every time I tried to form them, it just didn't turn out right, And then I tried burning in the cables, because everybody talks about how that makes them audiophile grade, and it just didn't work out so well. So, well, you're going to have to deal with unburned cables, and the caps are just going to have to be formed by the preamp, by running them for a couple of minutes. But other than that, hopefully everything else is going to be done right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record into the inputs of my Zoom H4n, and I'm going to set the recording parameters to 96 kilohertz and 24-bit, okay, record depth. So yes, that's way overkill, but we're going to do that anyway, just to take out any argument we may have about the quality of the recording. You're going to see how I set this up. I show this in a couple of clips that I did, and you'll see that I set these to have an identical gain to one another. One of them, they're both going to be set to unity gain. So if I'm going to put a 300 millivolt test tone into each one, and I'm going to adjust the volume level to get exactly 300 millivolts out, so that it's essentially unity gain. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the record level on this using the music, and then I'm going to record the preamp with the film caps, the preamp with the electrolytic caps, and a direct recording from my buffer preamp directly into this. So you'll have 3 tracks. I'm then going to put all 3 tracks into the video and synchronize them so they're all synced together, and then cut them. And we're going to toggle between the 3 tracks as the music plays. We're going to play the song called Arabian Sand by Jammy Jams, I think it is. It's a YouTube library thing that is hopefully won't get a strike because it's the audio library. And then I'm going to play them back to all of you, and you can tell me if you can tell any difference between any of them. And I'm not going to say anything either way because I don't know. What I will tell you is I listened to them under those conditions through my Marantz 2240. I played the preamps right into the amplifier of the 2240 and listened through my Klipsch speakers, tower speakers, and I literally could not hear any difference. Not a hill of beans of difference, none. So be that as it may, that's what you're going to hear. So I'm pretty excited about this, and I'm hoping that we can, at least some of you out there will have the headphones or the gear to be able to hear something. Okay, here's the setup. I have my signal generator set at 1 kilohertz sine wave, and I don't think you can see it with all the glare, but if you look, turn this off, it's 300 millivolts RMS at 1 kilohertz. That's a pretty respectable signal. I'm putting that directly into the auxiliary 1 input of each preamp. So we're going to start with this one, and then we're going to do this one. We'll make sure they're all matched. I'm coming out of output 1 right here and directly into the oscilloscope, just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to have unity gain. Now, I don't have a load on this. The load is a 1 mega ohm load, so of course it's going to be a little bit lower if you put it into like a 600 ohm load. But this scope, I don't believe, has variable loading like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think it does. And I'm just going to set it to have as close to unity gain as possible. So you can see down there at the bottom, channel 1 is 299 millivolts, channel 2 is 305. So it's very close to unity gain. 300 millivolts in, 300 out. I'm now going to move over to the other amplifier or preamp, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set it for the same amount of gain. They're both going to be set to about unity gain. Okay, the pesky little muting switch needed a little spritzer of control cleaner. I thought I cleaned that one, but obviously I must not have. All the others are working perfectly. All right, let's get back on to business here. And let's adjust. And I'm going to take this up until it says about 300 millivolts. And how about that? It's exactly the same, 299 and 305. So, perfect. Okay, that could be just some anomalies either in my the test leads that I'm using or the scope itself. Very close though. Okay, now that we know these are both balanced, I'm not going to touch anything on these And I'm going to first connect one of them, and this is going to be random. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my Zoom H4n, and I'm going directly into it with a set of test leads here, and as we discussed what they are. And I'm going to directly record from the output of each one of these into this. I'm going to record the same song at the same level. Everything is going to be the same. So we will have two what should be identical files, okay, recorded. And then we're going to compare them. So let me get those recorded and I'll be back. Okay, what did you think? Which one did you like better? Number 1, number 2, or number 3 recording? Which one's better? Could you tell a difference? If you could tell a difference, what was the difference? Was it, high frequency? I'm not a real good, I'm not well versed in audiophile language, and I'm not saying that to be ignorant. When people talk about the sound stage, that's a kind of a catch-all term, isn't it? What does that mean? Does that mean the high frequencies sound more crisp, or you can hear them better, or you can hear stereo separation in a better way? Things sound more directional when your head is positioned between the right and the left speakers. What, exactly what are you talking about? And are you hearing anything at all? Any difference? I'm not one to ask because my ears suck. And that's from years of sticking your head in x-ray machine cabinets with rows and rows of those big metal muffin fans running in your ears all day long, and in CT scanners and things. Those electronics rooms are very loud, and none of us ever wore hearing protection, and most of us still don't, even though we all know better that we should, and I've paid the price for it. So while I can hear good music, it doesn't sound the same probably as it will to some of you younger folks. Not to mention the age also takes its toll on your ears. So that's a double whammy for me. I'm not that old yet, but it's starting, you know. So anyway, let me know down in the comments section, and I really hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Until next time, I wish you all peace, joy, happiness, and good health. And I hope this was at least a little bit of fun. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.